Hey, good afternoon. My name is Ali Rayl. I'm the head of our customer experience department here at Slack. With me today, we are really fortunate to have Jennifer Manry, who's the managing vice president of digital transformation at Capital One. And what Jennifer and I are going to do is we are going to continue the conversation that we started earlier today at the keynote, specifically with Oracle and 21st Century Fox about digital transformation in the workforce, especially when that workforce is comprised of tens of thousands of people. So Jennifer, thank you very much. Let's have a seat. So Jennifer, Capital One is obviously a technology-led financial services company. It has a very lengthy history. You have 50,000 employees. Yep. You're consistently among Fortune's top 20 companies to work for. Capital One is really, really pushing the envelope consistently in terms of bringing technology into your workforce in order to enable it to do greater things. So given that, tell me a little bit about your role, how you view technology, and what you do at Capital One to move that forward.
Sure, and I think I can probably tell you a little bit about my role in the context of our digital transformation and the journey that we've been on. I started at Capital One about 7 years ago, and right when I joined was when we really took a hard look at ourselves and said, we want to be delivering these really immersive digital experiences for our customers, but we're not operating in a way that allows us to really innovate rapidly and deliver on those customer expectations. And we all know customer expectations are changing very quickly. So I had the fortune of being there at the very beginning when we started this digital transformation. And really what it started with was us taking a look at the way we were doing software delivery. We really feel like technology is the heart of the experience that we're going to give to our customers. And in order to be able to deliver those experiences that we wanted to, we needed to be able to operate more like a software delivery organization, more like a tech company. And so when I first joined, that's when we made the declaration that we wanted to be seen more as a technology company that was a bank. And what that actually meant for us, for our transformation, was we had to stop doing things the old way. We moved away from the waterfall method of software delivery, put all of our technology and digital associates in Agile teams. We gave them the best new tools and the capabilities to do great work, leveraging modern languages, leveraging the cloud. And we really took a very, very deep effort into making sure that our employees had everything they needed to help fulfill on that. So if you think about my role in the digital transformation, like partway through of that journey that we've been on, we realized that our customer expectations are changing and they're evolving very quickly, but that also has a direct impact on our workforce. And our workforce needs great modern capabilities and tools to be able to deliver on this bold agenda that we've set out for ourselves. And so that's when my role came about 3 years ago, to really focus on outfitting our entire workforce, not just our designers and developers, but our entire workforce with modern capabilities for productivity and collaboration so that they can fulfill on our enterprise journey for becoming this technology company that's also a bank.
Cool. So over the last 3 years, obviously, we are churning out new tools every day.
Like every 3 seconds, it feels like.
We're doing our best. Like the market has become saturated with a lot of stuff for enterprise companies to take advantage of, and I assume that over the last 3 years, just the way that you think of how you define digital transformation at your company has changed.
Right.
Like, how has your definition of digital transformation evolved as not only new tools have entered the market, but you've had the opportunity to evaluate them and bring them into your workforce?
Yeah, so when we made this shift to become more like a technology operation in the way we do our software delivery, we really wanted to position ourselves to take advantage of all the new technology advancements that were happening out in the world. So looking for how we incorporate all the newest technology into those moments that matter with our customers. And those things show up in a lot of different ways for us, and they do heavily influence our workforce and what our workforce expects. So we made this shift into operating more like a technology company so that we could be uniquely positioned to take advantage of these advances and rapidly innovate to deliver them. And some of the ways that has shown up for us are, if you bank with us, you'll see we have a really great mobile app that is constantly being added to from a features and capabilities perspective. It also shows up in things like an Alexa skill that we launched that allows our customers to interact with us in a different way if they want to use their Alexa to transact business with us. Even most recently, we've launched which we were the first U.S. bank to do, and that allows our customers to interact with us via text. So you see us grabbing a lot of the newest advancements out in the world, the trends that we see out in the marketplace, and figuring out ways to infuse them into the already really great digital experiences we have. And I think that the transformation not only happens in those customer experiences, but also in the way we run our business. So even things like machine learning for us has a lot of impact in our business operations, from helping us predict credit risk all the way to helping us prevent and detect fraud. So we're really, I think, through the way we've transformed our organization, much better positioned to take advantage of these things, harness them, and leverage them throughout our entire business process.
That's awesome. So, obviously Capital One is in a more traditional industry, thinking financial services, healthcare, education. Ones we heard earlier, Oracle and Fox obviously kind of fall more into that non-technology traditional industry as well. Like, these are companies that have been around for a few decades. And as you mentioned, we are seeing a rapid transformation within the market itself of companies thinking of themselves as a technology company, because regardless of what industry we're in, we are all rapidly becoming technology companies. It's just that some of us happen to build, technology for other people. But what are some of the specific efforts that you have undertaken at Capital One as you sort of reorient yourself as a technology company that have paid dividends for the company, whether for your customers or internally? And one of the things I was thinking of during the keynote this morning was workforce, like attracting and retaining talent.
Sure.
Have you found anything that's been sticky either that way or for your customers? Like, what's worked?
Yeah, I think as we look at the ever-changing customer expectations and the influence that has on our workforce, we've done a great deal in the past 3 years to really modernize the capabilities we give to our employees. I think we definitely recognize that we made this shift to be more like a technology company. Our teams would change the way in which they work, and they needed to be much more nimble. I mean, we were expecting our teams now in the Agile construct to be able to deliver innovation very quickly. It requires an intense amount of collaboration with our teams, and we needed capabilities to actually foster that sort of environment. And so we brought to bear things like Slack. We recognized the need for our teams to have a platform by which they could really foster the intense collaboration that we knew they would need. And it gave them a way to self-form their teams in a way that and communicate with each other that preserve the humanity of their team, right? It allowed them to choose their own adventure for how they leverage the platform to serve the business intent and the goals of the team, and certainly allowed us to give a cool and useful experience to our employees, not dissimilar to what they're experiencing in their personal and consumer lives. And so we've been able to really leverage this as a practical example of putting great technology into the workforce that helps them drive business outcomes, and we get a great tool to be able to use to foster that. But with, I think, Enterprise Grid's capabilities, also gives us the flexibility to manage it as an enterprise application with the functionality that we need to run at enterprise scale. So that's how we've got lots of great examples of how we've been using technology in our customer experiences, but this is a really great example of how we've used a modern capability to enable our workforce.
Okay. So, you touched on Slack Enterprise Grid. Obviously, Jennifer actually joined us at our Enterprise Grid launch event in January, so thank you again for doing that. Capital One was really one of the companies at the forefront of joining us on our enterprise journey. And as you have continued to roll out Slack, continued to see how it works with the culture, like what has Enterprise Grid allowed you to do to remain competitive and move faster that you've seen over the last few months? Sure,
and I think we've had quite a journey since we did the Enterprise Grid launch, not too long ago, and what we've really seen is this platform taking a great hold of our employee and our workforce in a way that constantly delights me in how our employees are using it. We've seen really great adoption. When we went through the beta during the Enterprise Grid launch, we partnered with Slack very closely to get to the place where we could roll it out. And not long after we rolled it out, and you fast forward to now, we've got over 10,000 people using it. We've got 10,000 channels. We've got close to 20 workspaces. So we're really using the full breadth of the Enterprise Grid product. And we've seen the adoption be pretty amazing as well. We actually went from about 2,000 people to 12,000 users in 2 months. Mm-hmm. So That tells you right there that people are seeing value in the tool, and they're very easily able to jump right into it and use it for all sorts of different things. So we've had a great adoption journey of driving that tool out into the workforce and seeing really great value in a lot of different ways. It's almost as endless as the number of stars are that people can figure out a way to use the tool to serve their team's purpose. So
since you were, obviously at the forefront of rolling this out, you have experiences that most people in this room won't have. What did you learn from rolling out Slack within your organization that you might want to, either maybe redo a little bit or, just share with everybody here, the good or the bad?
Yeah, I think it's all been very positive. I think there's some learnings for how we help people understand to use the tool, and not in its most basic form, really more to exploit the full capability of it. So we've actually done some things to help people understand there's more capability to it than just direct messaging and channels, right? There's a whole endless set of possibilities. And so I think that's one thing that we've been really focused on now is helping people understand that the platform has such extensibility. So one of the things that I'm really excited about that we did recently, we did Slack Hackathon. And so we invited a number of our associates together to create bots. And just impressive, the sheer types of bots and the number of them that people can create that actually have meaningful business value to them. So I think helping people in ways like that where they can see practical application of using the platform and see how leveraging the integrations, leveraging the automation can help them be better at their jobs. And we've rolled out plenty of integrations. We've done, some of them, the most notable ones probably Jira and GitHub. And we've got bots that do all sorts of things coming out of these hackathons. So I'm really pleased to see how people have jumped into using the tool. And I think now it's just really a matter of getting them to harness the full capability of it so that they can see the potential of leveraging the integrations and the bots.
Okay. We're pretty sure that there's a correlation between building bots and integrations that power your own workflows and your own workforce and adoption of Slack. But do you think that there are any other factors that went into that sort of rapid groundswell of adoption at Capital One besides that?
Yeah, I think so. I think just inherent to our culture, we have a part of our values is really being highly collaborative and very teamwork driven. So I think that definitely has helped us. When you have an employee base that's really used to having that spirit of teamwork and that collaboration, just part of their normal day-to-day work, when you give them a platform that gives them even better way of doing that, it certainly helps them jump right in. And I think we've also seen people who have leveraged the capabilities and spread the word organically to others. So some of my favorite channels are unexpected ones. I mean, we really started this thinking that this would be a tool for our designers and developers to help with this technology transition. And what we've seen is it go way far out of the walls of the technology organization into places where it's a little unexpected, like our finance teams and our HR teams using it to foster collaboration. And I think it's really driven because of the fact it's so intuitive to use that people can dip their toe into the pool and then come up to speed really quickly on it and then jump full into it, creating the channels they need to support their jobs.
That's great. So jumping back a little bit to the culture of your organization, you said that you're very collaborative. It sounds like people sort of dove right in and I guess kind of owned their onboarding journey a little bit. But in general, and not just with Slack, but with all of the tools that you're bringing into Capital One, what do you think about the role of tools and technology as you bring them into your workforce in terms of how they shape the culture of your organization?
Yeah, I think certainly all the availability of the tool you mentioned that technology is becoming available more and more quickly. And I think the prevalence of technology in our personal lives has really had a big influence. We've talked a lot about this as an organization, about the fact that it used to be not so long ago, the enterprise had the best technology. And when you came to work, that's where you got your technology experience. Not anymore. I mean, our employees are using technology more and more in their personal and consumer lives than ever, and that definitely has an impact to what we need to do in the enterprise. So I see a very, very direct drive from how people are engaging with their friends and family outside of work to what they're expecting to be able to do inside the four walls of Capital One when they come there. So we're certainly looking at ways to give the same kind of experience they have in their personal lives when they come to work. And I think that is just almost the basics now of where we need to invest in to ensure their employees have all the tools and capabilities they need, and it meets their expectations.
So teamwork.
Yeah.
Jennifer and I actually talked ahead of time, so I know that we're interested in this stuff. And I have note cards because honestly, we figured out that we can digress for roughly 45 minutes, but we have stuff to get through.
Mostly about Disney World, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was mostly Harry Potter, but teamwork. I think that we could dig in on this one for a while. So in terms of transformation, one thing we've noticed as we've seen Slack roll out across larger and larger teams is the amount of teamwork and collaboration required simply to change the way that a team works together, which is really the transformation that Slack both promises and requires. Mm-hmm. We promise that things will change, but we also need for things to change in order for things to change. How do you, when you have a shared goal or a shared set of initiatives that you're trying to roll out across the entire company, how do you manage that change within the Capital One organization? How do you pull the team together in order to reach that common goal?
Yeah, I think so through a lot of different ways, and I think through the journey that we've had to modernize our workforce technology over the past 3 years, we've definitely had some learnings for that. Certainly, I think with our workforce now being able to handle the rapid pace of change of technology, that's certainly helped, right? So now when we want to roll out things in a more iterative fashion and give people new tools, they're more, because they experience that change rapidly in their personal lives, it's helped set the stage, I think, for great change management within the workforce. But we certainly take a very metered approach with how we're doing the rollouts within Capital One, just knowing what our associate base needs. I think we were very fortunate in our rollout with Slack that we didn't have to provide a lot of training for people to use it. It was really mostly, hey, go in and try it. You'll see how easy it is to use, and people, like I said, just jumped right in. If it's something more complicated than that, then we do full-scale change management efforts where we really help people with training and the change management plans. But we benefited from the intuitive nature of this tool and the fact that we had great ambassadors that were out using it that could say, here's how I used it, and here's how you can best leverage it. And so people shared a lot of great best practices amongst the organization to help drive the adoption. So I think that's how we've rallied around certainly the launch of the Enterprise Grid tool with Capital One.
So I think you are unique. You are honestly one of the only people in the world doing what you do. There just aren't many people responsible for technological transformation within a very large financial services organization. Very much like this morning, Paul at Oracle and Jeff from 20th Century Fox, a very small set of people who are doing what you do. But I think we all have an awful lot to learn from that. Just the industries are different, but the people are the same. The change is very much the same. So just in general, as you think about things that you've learned and things that you would apply regardless of situation, what have you learned about modernizing a workforce and bringing it forward into being a technology company that's broadly applicable?
Sure, and I think April hit on it really nicely this morning when she showed the slide of the interconnectedness of things that our workforce uses. I think stopping the transformation at just the implementation of the technology is you haven't fulfilled on your destiny, right? I think the more sophisticated we become with weaving together these very disparate applications through APIs and through automation and through machine learning, we can create these really meaningful experiences for our associates. And so I definitely encourage people to not stop at just, hey, I ripped this technology out and I put this new one in there. I think there's a real opportunity there into the connectedness of the applications the workforce uses and how to create an experience that makes them feel like their digital workplace is alive. I mean, I use an example at the Enterprise Grid launch about the fact that I've got these apps that help me on the campus. I've got my parking app that tells me when the parking deck's going to be full and where there's parking available, and I've got an app that tells me how the layout of the campus is and where the cafes are. And I see a way for us to take the technology that's already there. We don't have to do a bunch more, implementation, but through some really creative ways to integrate them that maybe based on my preferences and not in the very distant future, that parking app could say, Jennifer, you have a meeting at 8, and you're clearly not on the road. And there's a lot of traffic between where you are now and where you need to be. So based on what I know of your day, I'm going to move the meetings around, and I'm going to provide dial-in numbers for the meetings where you were having conference, in-room conference meetings. And so I think that liveliness of the workforce and that, maybe that menu app actually evolves into a way to see what my day looks like and say, hey, Jennifer, you've only got 30 minutes for lunch. All the cafes are slammed right now, but cafe number 2, you'll be able to get in and out of no problem. Hey, by the way, as you're walking, do you want to order your food and pick it up so that you can run back to your desk and answer all your Slack alerts that you've missed in these hours of meetings that you've been in this morning? So I actually see that that's the future of where we're going with workforce technology, is taking things that we've invested in and weaving them together in a very sophisticated way so that the workplace is alive for our employees in a way that helps them be more productive than they probably thought they could be.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's something that I'm not sure if you've been at an event where Stuart talks about this, but he talks about something very similar, which is ultimately getting Slack to a place where it can basically be like everybody's personal chief of staff.
I would love that.
Which is like, it's honestly amazing to think of having something guiding you through your day and being like, here's the inefficiency, I've smoothed out the bump for you, here's the next one. But it's like, we can't do this through Slack. This is an ecosystem, it's a universe.
Yes.
You've mentioned a couple times machine learning and AI within Capital One. Is this something that you're like pursuing to these ends of greater efficiency within your employee base?
Yeah, I think for us, if you know much about Capital One's history, we are a company founded on great analytics, great data analytics. So this notion that machine learning has a place for us within our company, shouldn't come to a surprise, to anyone as a surprise. I think when we look at where there are opportunities to leverage machine learning, I mean, it's so many different parts of the organization. I mentioned like predicting credit risk or detecting fraud, but it can also help us manage our workplace more effectively. If we know how people are using the physical space, we can use machine learning to help us predict how many conference rooms we actually need or how much seating we actually need. And there are great applications for it if you think about the types of tools people use and what they have on their machines. So we have a very long laundry list of things where we think machine learning could play a role in helping us understand better how things are used, the tools we give people are used, the space is used, and how to help our business processes even be more effective. So we're certainly looking at leveraging machine learning in a big way within Capital One.
Cool. You also mentioned you had a hackathon. We didn't talk about this. But I'm curious, like we always find out about amazing things that people build in their internal hackathons. Did anything stick out to you?
I will tell you my one, and it was funny, we talked about it with April a little bit too during a break. We had 2 hackathons. One was a Slack hackathon. Mm-hmm. The week before that, we had a hackathon for a totally unrelated topic. But during the non-Slack related one, the team that got up said, hey, I've got this really great idea of leveraging Slack bots to help alert our technology resources when there are incidents going on. So we could have this bot go out and say, Jennifer, you need to join this bridge because we've got an incident going on and you're the subject matter expert for it. And here, let me fill you in on everything that's transpired with the incident before you join the call. And I was like, that's amazing. And they had our Slack hackathon was so well attended and registered for that they were not able to get into the hackathon to be able to share that. And so I was frantically slacking Karen and Julie, who are here with me, like, we need to get these people in. They've got this really cool idea. But I mean, you just think about like the amount of time just for that one use case that people spend phoning a friend, IMing someone, hey, I need you to come join this call because you might be the expert at why this thing broke, and like automating that entire thing with a bot that would just tell me, here's what's happened so far, here's why I need you, and paging the right resources to the calls. And I thought it was a really cool use case but one of like a ton of different use cases for bots that we've come up with just within our own organization.
Sounds amazing. You should open source that when it's done. A lot of people would use that, honestly.
I mean, it's really, like I said, the possibilities are endless. People's imagination for how they can leverage these bots to help them do part of their jobs. And we've even got bots that help people manage their Agile ceremonies. Mm-hmm. So it helps them do their daily stand-ups. And we've got polling bots and Rolodex bots. I mean, there could be a very wide proliferation of bots that help people, like I said, choose their own adventure for how they want to use the platform as part of their day-to-day jobs.
So, one final question.
Sure.
Let's fill in the blank.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Are you going to ask me what kind of fruit I want to be?
I wasn't, but since we're here, I mean, do you have an answer off the top of your head?
I would be an apple.
Okay, that's good for
Because
you.
like an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Okay, it's a good answer.
I mean, I'm not a comedian, but that is my joke, folks.
I'd come up with something random and have no excuse for it, so you're one up on me.
Awesome.
No, but blank wouldn't be possible without Slack. What do you have that would not be possible without Slack?
I think the level of team collaboration that we expect this now, technology-driven organization to be able to do would not be possible without Slack. I mean, you think about if we're collaborating via instant message and email, that's a really formal and sometimes hit or miss way of doing collaborations, I think, and you often lose information as part of this process, right? So I think the way we're expecting teams to collaborate and share knowledge with each other and be able to have those real-time interactions would not be possible if we didn't have Slack.
Awesome. We are going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
She came out from Virginia for this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.